Hey everyone, in this video we'll talk about DAX variables and what are the benefits of them, and we'll go through an example as we go along. So what are DAX variables? DAX variables are used to store the result of a calculation that can be used multiple times within a DAX expression. This helps in breaking down complex calculations into simpler, more manageable paths. So like in any other programming language where we use variables to make things simpler, DAX variables serve the same purpose, they just make things simpler. So what are the benefits of using DAX variables? So obviously readability is one, like it makes your code more readable. Performance, so the same calculation doesn't have to be run again and again. So it obviously improves the performance, and then it's easier to maintain because it just looks less clunky. That is a big advantage. So for the sake of example, I've created a calculation, so profit margin, and all it does is it subtracts the amount of sales that you receive by selling a product. You reduce the cost of the product, and then you divide it by the sales amount. So it's essentially just to get the profit percentage. And so this is how it looks like. And it looks very difficult to maintain, and let's say you need to use it in multiple places. It just becomes very hard. Let's say you wanted to use it for another calculation downstream. It'll become very hard if you have to copy paste the same formula. So you want to save it in a variable. Now let's move on to the next one. So this one looks a lot simpler. So I've created a variable for total sales 2011, total cost 2011, and then variable for profit. So you can see it becomes really easy, and then I'm just returning a divide by, and then profit divided by total sales, and you return 0 in case it doesn't give you a value. So it's pretty straightforward, and you can see it's easier to maintain. Some of the best practices I wanted to talk through. So you obviously want to give meaningful names to your variables, so it just makes sense. You don't want to have additional lines of comments and which you have to again maintain with the code. It just becomes really clunky and harder to maintain. It helps you modularize, so break down complex expression into smaller parts using variables, and obviously reusability is a big part, so you can reuse the same variables at multiple places. And use cases. So what are the use cases for DAX variables? Obviously you can store it for intermediate calculations, you can store it for conditional logic, and you can also store it for optimizing performance. So these are the use cases. So if it's slow for you, Power BI file here, and we'll quickly create these variables to see how they are. And I've already got them saved in a notepad file. So the first one is I'll create a calculation, and I'm just going to say a new measure. And let me just open this out. So I'm just going to paste this bit. So you can see the same calculation that I was talking about, and it becomes really clunky. But let's just check this on, and I'll just change the data type for it to a percentage, and I'll bring it out. So let's just bring the profit margin, and let's just make it a card. So it's 355.13. Let's divide it by order date. So I'm going to convert it into a table, and we'll use order date. And I don't want it summarized, so it really is not something that is needed. So you can see how it is translated by year. In January, what is the profit percentage? And it's not a summable measure, but I'm not. So you could potentially remove this summary, saying that this is not something we want to sum for. And now we'll just use the same one, but we'll use it using variables. So I'm just going to go to calculations. I'll create a new measure again. So I'm just going to create the same calculations, but I'm going to use a different way. So I'll use variables. And you can see I've got 3 variables, so it's a lot more readable. And then I just return the profit divided by total sales 2011. So I'll hit enter, and it creates this profit margin again for me. So I'll create a table, and let me first change this profit margin to just going to format it, and then I'm just going to do it by order date. Oops. So we also want the month, hey. And we will move the profit margin, then we have the year, So you can see here it's the same profit margin and same calculation. Here obviously because we've not put a filter on, which we could have, but you can see that it just becomes a lot easier to manage. So in this video, just to recap, we spoke about the variables and how variables make life so much simpler for us. So I hope you find this video useful, and thanks for watching this video. Please do subscribe to my channel, like my videos if you enjoy what I'm doing. Let me know if you would like me to take any specific topics. Cheers, bye.